Kral Space, Kral Space, I can't crawl. Kral Space, I'm invading your space. Kral Space, Kral Space, Kral Space, Kral Space, I can't crawl.
Hi, it's Kral Space. I'm Kim Kral, and I'm reporting to you not live. I'm in my closet. Oh, Jesus, this is a little rough today. My cat isn't here, but he seems to be happy. Like he's like laying down and purring, so we'll see how long that lasts. And I'm like kind of like in a weird position, so we'll see what happens. Hi everybody, what's up? I'm all over the map. I'm all over the fucking map. I don't know. When I leave this to the last second, which you know what? I've just accepted that's who I am. I've read in a lot of places that like if you're a procrastinator or you wait till the last second, but you always do. I feel like something else is in my closet. Nothing else, just the cat. If you are a procrastinator and if you wait for the last second, but you always get everything done, maybe just accept that about yourself and then enjoy everything else. Because what I'll do is I'll procrastinate, but I'll just like worry about the thing I need to get done, but I always get it done. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I might as well just enjoy the time that I'm not doing it instead of, not that I'm procrastinating this, I just procrastinate everything. I enjoy doing this. But when I'm all over the map, like emotionally, I'm freaked out about coming in here because I don't know what is going to come out of my mouth. There's California just rolled back our reopening. So I guess that's no indoor stuff. I don't know. I got my nails done and my vagina waxed. And truthfully, like, okay, so I got it done like literally. And I walked out of the salon after both were done. And our governor Newsom announced that the salons would be closed. So I literally got it done right in the nick of time. And they open salons, nail salons, and wax salons. My nail and wax salon are the same place. It's kind of a sketchy place, but I've been going to this broad for like 10 years. And I don't know. I just feel like you can't just like switch a vagina waxer. Like she knows my vag. She knows, I don't know why I said it like that. She knows my vag. But she does, you know, and like you don't have to. I don't know. I don't need to explain why I don't want to switch waxers, but it's always been a little bit of a sketchy spot. But they opened a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of weeks ago, and she texted me and she's like, "We're open," and I was like, "All right, I'll be in touch," just because I wasn't. It's set like we're like I think we're the epicenter. No, I think Florida is. Fuck, the United States, dude. So embarrassing. So fucking embarrassing. Oh my God. Every other every other country in the world has pretty much locked this thing up, like figured out how to like fix it. And we're just like, oh, right now we're debating if masks should be worn. I just don't understand that. And I talk about it a lot, but I don't fucking get it. Like it's just like if you were to tell me wearing a mask is probably not going to do anything for anybody, but it may, like 0.0000001% chance might save maybe one life. I'd wear the fucking mask. Like, what is with these people? Like, I read somewhere that was like, hey, like, because, you know, like, my father was kind of like this. Like, I'm not going to be inconvenienced. It's like, well, why not? Like, if you tell me that if I am doing this one thing that is upsetting lots of people, I would just stop doing that one thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. And I'm hearing a lot, I'm reading a lot that it's definitely an American thing, that we're just like, it's all about me. And like, it's just like, God, wear your mask. Just wear your mask. We could be locking, like now they're just having, like I read this morning that Missouri is having their parents sign waivers just in case her kid dies at fucking school. What is happening? So my brain is all over the map, and I guess we've been doing this podcast. Well, technically it's a we because Henry's still laying in here. What's happening? He hasn't even been fed yet, and he's a big boy. He's a big cat, but. Like, so I guess we've been doing this since beginning of April. A lot of stuff has gone on. A lot of stuff. Got my heart broken. I kind of feel all right about that now, guys. That that guy was way above that guy's league. Above, out of. I like that guy, and he also lied a lot. So I feel like the person that I thought he was is 100% not the person he actually is. So I'm actually pretty good. I tried to join Bumble. Okay, we'll go back to the fucking nail salon. Nail and waxing. So now that we're out of the way that my nail and my wax are the same person, I was avoidant going because, the cases are fucking spiking in California. And I was like, well, there's a reason why the nail salons were the last to open. So maybe I ought to just wait. And so Monday, or Sunday, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to go. Because waxing my own vagina, I only was able to do it once. I couldn't, we all have a little bit of ass crack hair, all right? We all have a little bit. I used to get in this fight with this guy I dated years ago. He was like, yeah, everybody has ass hair. And I was like, I don't. And I don't know why I didn't believe him, because I can't see my own asshole. He could. Not that he was all up in it, but you know what I mean? I mean, he kind of was. It's not a hairy asshole. It's not like a dude, but you have a couple, I'm a human being. I'm a mammal. So I couldn't wax my own asshole. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go. We'll see what happens. I'll just go get them done. And get them all done, the vagina. And I've already told you this, maybe I haven't, but life hack, or Kim Kral life hack. If my nails are done, that means my vagina is completely waxed. It's pristine. Oh, so wonderful. It was worth it. But so I walked in and truthfully, that place, she gutted it. It was she redid it, which upped the prices, which totally sucked. Which, I get why the prices are upped, right? I get why she increased the price, but you would think she would maybe tell me that. I've been going to her for 10 years. The price has been the same for fucking 10 years. You would think when I called her to make the appointment, she would be like, yo, just heads up, we had to increase our prices. She didn't. It was weird. Then it went up $25. And it was cheap before anyway, so it's pretty cheap still. But it was just oh, I was like, that the price increased. And she just giggled and went, yep. And I was like, oh, okay, well, obviously I'm going to pay. But it sucked because I always bring cash to tip. And I tipped more than I, usually before pandemic, I tip more than you should. I think that's just the bartender in me. But also I think everybody should do that. Especially if they do a good job. And so but then this time I brought enough cash to tip way more than I normally do, just because no one's been working. But because she upped the prices, I tipped exactly 20%, which I know is fine, but I don't know, I tip more. So, but it was weird. I was like, why wouldn't you just tell me? But it was the safest place I felt going into since the reopening. Restaurants and bars, I've only gone to restaurants and bars that are owned by people I know and trust. So I know that they're actually complying to the fucking law, because a lot of people I know that are working in restaurants, they're be careful. The restaurant I'm working at is definitely skimping, or not following all protocols just because it's expensive or it's a pain in the ass or whatever. So I've been, and I don't know, since the spikes, I haven't really been out just because of, I'm not an idiot, but, so walking into the salon, it was literally the safest I've felt. She gutted the whole place. There's no more carpet. There was plexiglass everywhere. Everything, not laying on the ground, but you know what I mean? Up so where you wouldn't be. And when I walked in the door, there was a stand at the door that stopped you. She took my temperature, made me sign a waiver, and I washed my hands. No, that's a lie. I used hand sanitizer. But it was and everything was pristine and clean, which is a far cry. I mean, not that it wasn't super clean before. It was just a little sketchy. Look, I've been going to her for years. But I brought my best friend Katie to it once, and I was like, it's a little sketchy, but it's fine. And I was telling her yesterday, and she goes, oh wow, she cleaned it up. But literally I walked out and it was closed. So crazy, but man, it was worth it. My vagina is fucking pristine. It's just beautiful right now. I know that that's a weird, I'm not meaning to be sexy. I'm just saying that it's just good to feel like a human for a minute. But I do think that I'm probably going to buy my own wax again and just wax my own vagina for a little while. Mostly because I'm unemployed. And my unemployment is running out this week. this week it's running out, and then the feds are making the decision on the extra $600. So insane to me. Like, what the fuck is happening? And it's hard for me. Like, a lot of people are like, have faith. They're definitely going to extend it. How can they not? Because, like, literally everything that I do for a living is shut down. And, like, the place I worked before, I told you that they were offering us to work there for free so we wouldn't lose our unemployment, but then like no one walked in the door, so then they just like shut down the place anyway. Also, they're a nightclub, so they're down for the count for a while. So like every way I made money before is gone, it's hard for me to people like have a little faith about the extension of the 600. Like this passed in the House. I always mix those up. Whatever the Democrats are in charge of, Pelosi. But that passed in May. And Mitch McConnell was like, that was dead in the water as soon as it got here. We are not giving anybody any more money. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? And the fact that they're pushing kids to go back to school and they're being like, only 0.02% of kids will die next year. That's 14,000 fucking kids. Like, the fact that they don't give a fuck about the kids, I'm like, they're not going to give a fuck about my $600. Like, I don't know. But I'm told my unemployment will just automatically extend for the 13 extra weeks. I don't know, man. If you have any remote work that you think I can do from my home, just send it my way. Just DM it to me. Oh, my DMs blew up a little bit. And like the dick pics, man. Stop sending dick pics. Jesus fuck. And like Instagram's not going to do anything about it. Like I reported the dick pics and they were basically told me to ignore it until it went away. Oh boy. So every time I get in here, when I'm feeling this crazy, I don't, booty is starting to, every time I get in here and I'm feeling this crazy, it's always, I'm just nervous what's going to come out of my mouth. You know, I mean, I guess I'm feeling pretty good though. I finally took my cat is, he's so sweet. I have a couple, So you know on Facebook how you like are friends with people from high school, but you haven't seen them since high school? In my case, I don't know if this is anybody else's case, but I think a lot of it has to do, I moved to LA and like a lot of my comedian friends and model friends are like, oh yeah, people I was not friends with in high school now want to be my friends on Facebook. Cause like, oh, Kim's a comedian now. She models now. You know, like I told you about that one guy, Kyle, who sends me a message. I don't know. He hasn't in a while, but he used to propose quite a bit. It was like, we didn't know each other at all. I did friend my high school crush, Curtis Hahn. Ugh. He's like married and kind of bloated and has like 16 kids now. But like, man, that guy was so hot. I somehow obtained. Oh my God. There's no way he listens to this. I wish. Oh God, Curtis Hahn, if you're listening to this, you fucking smoke show. Even though you're 40 and bloated now. 16-year-old Kim, her heart still burns for you. Is that what you say? My heart candle still burns? I don't know, whatever. But I never met him. Like the guy had no idea who he was. He was a year younger than me too. So like at all. He was like a star basketball. Maybe he wasn't a star basketball player, but he was like on the basketball team and pretty good at it. But like everyone, there's no way he knew who I was at all. But man, I pined over him. And then I somehow acquired his school picture. So I would carry, I can't believe I haven't thought about this in so long. I carried around his school picture. You know, those pictures you take and then you get like copies of it. Somehow I obtained one of those and I carried around my purse for like 2 years. Oh my God, I had such a crush on him. In fact, one day I used to watch him in the gym and again, like I was pretty invisible in high school. Like I wasn't like, I don't know. I was tall, but I was weird and I didn't have a lot of friends. So I wasn't very popular. I wasn't, I don't know. Now that I'm looking back, I'm like, maybe I was a little bit. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, if you ask my best friend Katie if I was popular in high school, her response is, girl, you peed your pants until you were like 16 and played dolls. So I wasn't popular. All right, we get it. I wasn't popular. Also, I used to carry a school picture of a boy that didn't know I existed in my wallet for 2 years. 2 years. But so, I friended him and then he automatically accepted my friendship. I don't know if that means he knows who I am. I don't even know if we're still friends. I haven't thought about Curtis Hahn in a while, but Curtis Hahn. So I'm friends with a lot of people from high school that I wasn't even really friends with in high school. And so, this ties into like politics, I guess. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So this kid, I don't want to use his name because now we're, I guess, friendly. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I felt bad because I fired back. So this kid that I wasn't even friend. I mean, he was super popular, like super popular. I don't think we ever talked. We've spoken a few times over Facebook. Like he tried to quit smoking, I don't know, like 5 years ago, or I quit smoking 4 years ago almost. So like a couple of years ago, he tried to quit smoking. So he like messaged me on how I did it. Other than that, I think we were just friends on Facebook. So he sends me like 62 paragraphs. I'm not joking. Like I lost count. It was so fucking long. Well, first it was a video that wouldn't play. And I just wrote question mark. Like, what the fuck is this? And I know that's on me. That is on me. If some obscure person from your high school sends you a video in the middle of one of the biggest social movements and pandemic in our lifetime, or the biggest social movement in our lifetime, like just don't respond. Just don't. But so it was on me. I hit question mark, and then he sent me the 62 paragraphs. I mean, it was pages. And I read a little bit, and most of it was about how Corona was a fucking hoax and government control. That's so stupid. That is so stupid. Oh my God, it's so stupid. My cousin and I got in a fight the other day. He always likes to argue though, so I don't know. He also called me an idiot and then gaslit me a lot, and then was like, I gotta get off the phone, and hung up on me. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say I didn't. By the way, the further I get along on becoming a better human to myself, like more self-worth, like I've talked a lot about my journey into like self-esteem and self-worth, and you know, ditching my people-pleasing ways. Like they say, when you stop people-pleasing, people stop being pleased. So I have like pissed off quite a bit of people in this whole journey. But I don't know. I'm done abandoning myself to make you feel comfortable. So he called me an idiot and then gaslit me a bunch and then hung up on me. Because he was saying TikTok and the Chinese are trying to collect our information. And all I said was like, if they want our information, they're going to be able to get it, whether if you're on TikTok or not. Then he called me an idiot. No, I think he called me an idiot when I said, you literally were given a number at birth, which you were. We all were given a number at birth. Like they know we file our taxes every year. You have an iPhone. Then he called me an idiot. And then I said, why do you always argue with me? Or why? I was like, do you do this with everybody? Just like argue about literally everything? And then he said, I'm not doing this with you today, which is such a shitty thing to say to someone. Like, I'm like this difficult person. No, he just argues a lot. And I don't know. I don't even know if he listens to this, but I think he does. Hi, I love you, but I guess this is how I feel about it since you got off the phone so quickly the other day. What was I saying? Oh, right. So he said, like, he's saying, like, the hoax thing or government control. Are you guys out of your fucking minds? People are dying. Like, the only people that are saying this shit are people that don't know anybody who's died or who's sick. Like, 3 more people I know just got COVID. And they've all been... Like, one girl's pregnant, and she was like, yo, all I've done is go to the grocery store once a month since this whole fucking thing has begun. Like, this thing is so brutal. Another guy is like, yeah, I got it. He's like, I got a pretty mild case, but just so you know, I have a mild case, and I can feel how ugly it is inside of me, that it is trying to kill me. So yeah, I got mad. This fucking idiot, he sends me 62 paragraphs about how wearing a mask is government control, blah, blah, blah. I stopped, and then I reacted. And I wrote him, and I said, don't send me this shit. We have not, I said something, I was like, we have not spoken in 20 years. And when we did know each other, we weren't friends. I couldn't pick you out of a lineup. We don't know each other. We aren't friends. And the fact that you were being like, sending me this shit makes you seem idiotic and insensitive. And then we were off. He unfriended me, and then he sent me a bunch of stuff, called me Karen. I was like, I don't think you know what Karen means if you're fucking calling me Karen. And then he's like, have a good life. And then, this whole... And it just didn't sit right with me, honestly. Like, I don't agree with him at all. But it just didn't sit right, because that is one of the things that is like, we are so fucking divided right now, and it's just because it's like you versus me, you know what I mean? And like, or like us versus them, and like, we're all gonna fight. And yeah, I know I coughed on strangers on 4th of July. I didn't cough on them. I coughed near them in my mask. I stand by those actions. I really thought about it, what I talked about last week, and I fucking stand by those actions. I don't stand by the actions of someone going from 0 to 100 and trying to fight a stranger. I don't stand by that, but I'm not taking responsibility for that. Oh, whoops. So I felt bad. Like, it basically was like, fuck off. And then we didn't. And then, like, and again, I don't really know this guy. So I messaged him later and was like, listen, man, I'm sorry I reacted. I didn't have to be so mean. I'm just really sensitive because I do have friends that have lost their mom, their sister, their friend. I have a friend in the hospital, and she's in a hospital bed in her home because she was immune compromised before. I talked about her. She has Lyme disease. And she's literally fighting for her fucking life. Fighting for her life every day. Cannot see her family. Only has seen her nurse. Like, so hearing people try to defend how wearing a mask infringes on their rights, fuck you. Fuck you. That, like, there's people that haven't seen their families. They're so sick. There's people that are dying without saying goodbye to their families. And you're like, I'm not wearing a mask because I believe in Jesus. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. And if you listen to this and you're mad at me and you're like, oh, fuck Kim Kral, I don't care. Like, it's one of the most selfish, idiotic things that I've ever seen in my lifetime. No, I wish I could say that. There's probably a bunch more because we have the dumbest country. And I never felt that way before. Like, I was always like, yeah, there's some idiots. But, like, we're 4 or 5 months into this thing and we're not even out of the first wave yet. Like, the other countries are getting ready. Like, we aren't allowed to travel to most other countries now. Oh, man. So then he apologized that he overreacted. And then he was like, I would really like to be your friend. Then we're back friends on Facebook. My buddy Whitney was like, I was like, oh, that I like told him everything that happened. And he goes, oh, wow. He goes, maybe this is like a Harry Met Sally sort of situation. Like, what if you two get to know each other and then, like, romance buds? And, you know, the romantic in me is like, oh, that would be a really cute story. And then I didn't go to his Facebook page because I was thinking about the romance thing. He's like 5'5" and I'm 6 feet. Yeah, I know a lot of the short guys in the room are upset right now, but you don't want to date a woman with small boobs, don't date me. You know what I mean? We all have our type. Like, I don't understand. I've been called superficial so many times in my life for not wanting to date a shorter guy. I have dated shorter guys. It's always a nightmare. They're kind of mean. But I've been called superficial, but I'm like, we all have our types. If I've not been, like, guys have not dated me because I have small boobs. So one guy told me he wasn't going to date me because I had small boobs, and he was one of the douchiest people I have ever met in my life. And he actually said that because I'm, talking about getting breast implants, not because that dude didn't want to date me. That's all. We've already talked about this, but it's probably on hold until, 2025 because we're not going to be able to figure out this fucking thing till then. But, every time I'm done with these podcasts, I'm like, was I too angry? Was any of that funny? But yeah, I was talking about getting breast implants, I think on stage or something. And then he walked me to my car. And after we went on like a date or two, he was like, and by the way, this dude was trying to get me to go out with him for like years. And finally I was like, fine, I'll go out with you. And then he was like, I wasn't really feeling it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care. I thought we were just going to do the adult thing because I wasn't feeling it either, where we just, pretend it didn't happen. That's what I thought. I thought we were going to see each other and then just like avoid that we went on a date, and it didn't happen. But instead he rejected me, which is fine. But he walks me to my car after, like a couple months later, right? And he goes, so you're going to get breast implants? And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. And he goes, yeah, I know. Like, I've always thought, like, your boobs could be bigger. Like, they really could be. What the fuck, right? What a fucking fuck. But I always wonder when I get out of this, I'm like, was I too angry? Was any of that funny? I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh, yeah. So my buddy was like, oh, because he's 5'5". So no, I didn't go to his page because I was like, oh, maybe there'll be a romance here. He also lives like in a whole other country now, which is so funny to me that he has these like big opinions on how the U.S. government is trying to control us when he has not been in the U.S. in a few years. So it's like, fuck off. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. And so I went to his page, and he is one of those people that posted the Plandemic YouTube. And I kind of regret being like, maybe we should be friends. But then I'm just like, you can't judge someone for being, you can judge someone for being fucking stupid. You can. But I don't know. I don't know exactly what I fired back when he sent me that long thing, but it was like, wait, like, this is why, like, don't tango with a fucking comedian. We're wordsmiths. Like, for our job, and frequently we stand on stage in front of lots of people and speak, and we're fucking witty. And so I try to use my powers for good, and sometimes I get pissed off. So I wrote him like a paragraph that was just like really mean, and that's why I felt bad. But then after I saw the pandemic, I was like, maybe he needed that wake-up call. Can we all just fucking acknowledge that Henry has been in this closet sleeping? Maybe he's dead. Oh, that would be terrible. He's not dead, I promise. I check his pulse probably way more. He's awake, and I check his pulse. I'm terrified of the day if something happens to him. I would murder everyone in the world if I was told. If it was like, you got to kill 10 people. I don't know why I always bring it here. You got to kill 10 people, and it has to be 10 people you really like and care about, and then your cat and you get to live this life for forever together. I'd kill those 10 people. Kill them. No questions asked. I mean, I'd probably try and figure out if the offer was real. You know, it wouldn't be just from like a random guy. It would be from like, it'd be, that went off weird in another tangent. Guys, I'm so all over the map. And I've had, here's some poop scoop. I think I've run out of pooping my pants stories. That can't be true. I haven't pooped my pants that much, but I've definitely had close calls. And like, I watched the Jim Jeffries special last night, Intolerant, and he talked about shitting his pants, and it was fucking glorious. I recommend watching it. But I couldn't have ran out of pooping my pants. I mean, I almost poop my pants all the time, but I don't know if it's just the anxiety. I'm trying to eat a little bit better. Probably anxiety, eating better. I'm not drinking, so I'm sure my body is just like, not that I was drinking a ton before or eating terribly before, but I'm really trying to drink more water. And after the 4th, I've not drank, and so my body's probably just like flushing itself out. But man, I exploded right before this whole thing, and I was like, fuck, why am I always exploding before I record that thing? There's been way too many times while recording this that I've almost, like, I've been in here being like, I'm gonna shit my pants. We better wrap this fella up. What was the poop scoop? I was gonna tell you a little poop scoop. Oh, I think it's just that I've had bad diarrhea the last few days. And then I was trying to get it all to clean out, so I took magnesium, like that bottle, that liquid magnesium, where you're supposed to only drink half of it. But if I drink half of it, it doesn't do anything because I got an iron fucking stomach. I mean, I told you I eat raw bacon sometimes. Every time I have raw bacon in my fridge, I eat it every single time. I just don't buy bacon a lot, but when I do, I eat raw bacon. Fuck, I love it. I already said that in episode 1. So if you just started listening around now, it used to be one of my deep dark secrets. But like, so I have like an iron fucking stomach. So I had to drink that entire thing of magnesium. And I just resigned to the fact that like I was probably going to get woken up in the middle of the night and I was just going to poop all night. And it didn't really happen. It was like 4 a.m. It was about an hour. And then I don't know. I took it just hoping to just clean me out and get this diarrhea thing. But I don't know. I guess we just ride this out and be grateful that we're on lockdown while there's your poop scoop. And that was too much information. I haven't used too much information in a long time, but I feel like this whole podcast is just too much information, right? If you're new listening, too much information, I changed it to too much Kimformation. I wanted to tell a story. So when I first started doing stand-up, my very first stand-up show, I don't think I've told this story. I know I haven't told the one that's going to lead to it, but so my very first show ever was at the Comedy Store main room, like the very big room in the back. If you've ever been to the Comedy Store, it's like the bigger room, not the OR that faces Sunset, but the big room in the back. And I knew I wanted to try stand up, but I didn't know anybody who had done it. I knew people who had done it, but I wasn't friendly with anybody anymore that was doing it, like to reach out and be like, hey, I want to try stand up. And so I wasn't really sure. But I got this, you get notifications of things that are casting if you sign up. They're called casting sites. And you pay I don't know. Oh, well, I was supposed to go on a hike at 11 with this broad and she just canceled, which is kind of good because I was planning on pooping some more. So, but you get the casting sites, you get the casting notifications of what they're, I don't know if I'm explaining this right. I'm trying to explain it to the people who don't live in LA. It's just like how they cast for movies and parts and plays and TV shows. So you pay like, I don't know, like I think it's like $14 a month, $16 a month now, and then they send you all of it, and then you submit your headshot. So years ago, I got one when I was wanting to I wanted to try comedy, and I got one for stand-up comedy, and I was like, oh, if I submit to this, because I was too scared to go on my own, right? But I was like, if I submit to this and I get it, then I have to. Like, if you get the job, you can't not show up, right? So I got it, and now I know it was a bringer show, which is basically bringer. It means you can perform at these big clubs as long as you bring like 10 people, something like that, right? And it gets a bad rap, but truthfully, it's where most people cut their teeth. It's where most people like get like a real audience. Yes, it's 10 of their friends, but there's also 7 or most bringer shows have like 52 people on it. It's a nightmare, but it's like other people's 10 friends. So it's like the first time you have like a real audience in a real club. So I don't know, but it was a bringer show, but I got it, and I didn't know what a bringer show was. I didn't even know that. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I got to try stand-up comedy, right? So it's at the Comedy Store on like a fucking Thursday or something like that. And I'm terrified. I'm nervous. And then I'm terrified because I also lost my virginity to a headlining comic who is, I don't know. Now we're fine. I guess he's out of his fucking mind. But I was like, I hadn't seen him in years. And I was like, oh my God, what if he's the headliner? And I'm just a big ball of fucking nerves. So I show up at the Comedy Store on a Thursday. I'm going to say Thursday. I don't remember what night it was, but I go up, I meet the guy. His name is Michael Q, who later became a good friend of mine, and the guy that was working with him, Demarie, who also became a good friend of mine. But I walk up and I'm like, hi, I'm Kim Kral. And they're like, all right, hi. Like, I checked in and I was like, cool. But I didn't know you just check in and then you go away. You know what I mean? I've never done comedy before. So I just followed them all throughout. Like, now I've produced shows, I've ran shows, I've done more shows than I'll ever be able to figure out. Like, now I would have, if I was hosting or running a show and some broad was just following me around, I'd be like, sit the fuck down. But they didn't. I'm assuming because I'm cute. But I followed them around, and then I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Can I go to the bathroom? And they were like, yeah, go to the bathroom. I came back and I was like, am I allowed to get a drink? And they're like, yeah, go get a drink. And I'm like, I'm going to go get some water. They're like, yeah, get some fucking water. Like, I followed him around asking permission like a lunatic, but I had no idea. And so I'm standing next to him and I just sigh, and out loud I go, I can't believe I've never done this before. And they both stop and they're like, what? You've never done stand-up comedy before? I'm like, no, never been on stage. And they were like, what the fuck? Why did you submit to this? And I was like, well, I wanted to try it. And I think the only reason why they weren't like, get the fuck out, is because I had brought a lot of people. Like, a lot of people came to see the stand-up. I think I did tell this story where I ran the light. It's only like a few more minutes and it leads into a bigger story. But I ran the light. Jason Collins was the first headliner. Oh, I think we're just about to lose Henry. We'll hear him in a minute. He'll meow, or maybe he's just adjusting. He has a glow-in-the-dark jack-o'-lantern stress t-shirt on right now, so I can see where he's at. I didn't put it on for this, but because of that, I can see where he's at. He has it on because he's been anxious lately. Probably because I've been anxious. Maybe there's something in the air. Maybe he's anxious. I'm pooping a lot. It's probably just something in the air. The world's ending, everybody. That's one of my biggest fears about the world ending. Is what am I going to do with Henry and Lucy? Oh, I have another cat. I don't know if I've ever told you guys that. I have another cat. She kind of sucks, but she's part of the unit. But like, I don't know. That's another problem for another day. But Jason Collins was the first headliner, and he was so nice. I love this guy. This guy's still a friend of mine. And he's blowing up even more so than he already was. He's so fucking funny. Check him out. He's so fucking funny. If and when Kral Space ever gets to Dash, we're still waiting on that. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll have some phone calls today. I say that every Wednesday. I'm just going to stop promising it. Luckily, my first guest is like the only thing that we're going to have to re-record is that he changed the title of his book, and his book's already out. So the interview is pretty timeless. Thank God. But, because we did it before, like in the middle of like when the pandemic was like cute and we were all making banana bread and shit, not before the race war and the riots and, Donald Trump says that we all need to go back to school. Oh, you want out, baby? I think he's, oh no. Oh, fuck. I'm trying to let him out, but he's not. Oh no. Oh God, guys, I don't know what to do here. I guess we're just gonna see what happens. He's like, Like I open, go the other side. Go the other side. If you want out, it's over there. I open one part of the door, the only part that I can reach from here, and he's scratching at the other door that I do not have access to. Oh, he's gone. All right. Well, that was 2 minutes of our lives we can never get back. And I can't shut the door now. So check him out. He's so fucking funny. Jason Collins. But he was the first headliner, and I was sitting in the back of the main room. In the back, like there's like 2 levels, like a little level, but I was up at the second little level. It's like a ramp. But we're sitting there, and this guy's there, and I was just like, oh, I'm so nervous. And he's like, why? And I was like, oh, it's my first time ever. And he was so nice. There was also a couple of women. One's name is Vivica, but what was her last name? We were friends on Facebook, and she's fucking a powerhouse, dude. But her and like 3 other women were so nice to me. They called me Disney comedy Disney princess, because I was like, I'm so excited. I mean, you know who I am, so that's pretty self-explanatory. But they were so fucking nice. Everyone was so nice. It was such a good experience, and I was funny. So, cut to a couple of months. I mean, as funny as for the first time. I'm much funnier now, thank God. But you know, it was funny enough for. It was like, oh, I don't want to sound like one of those cocky people that's like my first time doing stand-up. It was not anywhere I am now, but you know, it was funny enough for me to want to keep writing and keep going. So I start doing these bringer shows with Michael and Demarie. And so, you know, like a month later or something like that, I'm back at the Comedy Store, and there's this back bar area, right? Like you go down the hallway, and it looks like like it is where the kitchen is, but there's a bar, and there's a whole other secret bar too that I got to, but I have been able to go to a couple of times after that. But this time I'm walking by, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing the comics standing around this bar, and the servers are coming in and out. So it might be the service bar. I don't know, but like comics are allowed to sit there, and that's where whatever. So I'm looking over. There's like the like old saloon type doors, you know, where they swing, but there's no bottom or top, and you can see over. And so I'm looking in there, and this little guy comes up to me, and he, you know, he says hi, and I was like, who? I was like, what's in there? Like, what's that? And he goes, oh, it's a bar for comics. And I was like, oh, well, I'm a comedian, so I should be able to. This is driving me crazy. This fucking door is not. I'm going to try and... Sorry, everybody. Every time I think I should... Just like... Yeah, okay. It just makes me freaked out. I don't know. I'd rather have both the doors shut than have like a little opening, because then I picture like Darth Vader sticking his head in here. I don't think his helmet could fit in here. He has a pretty big head. I am afraid of Darth Vader. How are you not afraid of Darth Vader? Think about it. What if you were just sitting in your living room and Darth Vader just came in like... Oh, so scary. Same with Johnny Depp. I feel like Batman as well, but I think he'd be there to help, which would also raise a few questions why he was there to help. So who was after you? Probably Darth Vader or fucking Johnny Depp. So I'm looking over, and this little guy goes, oh, it's for comics. And I was like, oh, I'm a comedian. And he goes, oh, honey, you're not a comedian. You're just doing bringer shows, but you're hot, so I'll let you come in with me. Let me preface this story that I will say this guy's name. Before you curse him, hear the entire story. He does look like a douche in the beginning, but then he completely and totally redeems himself, and he's now one of my favorite comics and humans. So before you curse him in this story, because every time I tell this story, people are like, fuck that guy. Hear the whole story, all right? So yeah, he comes off a little douchey at first. And I will say his name only because I was not going to say his name, but then I remember, okay, we'll get to it. So we're in there, and we're talking, and I was like, I'm Kim, by the way. What's your name? And he goes, I'm Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee, guys. If you don't, he's so fucking funny. Look him up. He's like, I'm Bobby Lee. And I was like, oh, but he looked at me like, how the fuck don't you know that? And he was like, I think he did say, how the fuck do you not know that? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm really bad at names. Like, are you famous? Like, I'm really bad at famous people. I'm still really bad at famous people. I meet famous people all the time that I have no idea they're famous. I met Jeff Garlin once. Now I know he's famous, but when I met him, I had no idea. Like, we took some pictures, we laughed. It was a good time. And then I walked away, and people were like, that was Jeff Garlin. I was like, I know. I don't know who that is. I was like, yeah, Jeff's very nice. And they're like, no, that's Jeff Garlin. So I'm not good at famous people. So I was just like, hey, I was like, if you're famous, I'm sorry. really bad at famous people. He's like, I'm Bobby Lee. And I was like, yeah, you keep saying that. I don't know who that is. So he takes me outside and he points to his name on the wall and he goes, I'm such a big deal. My name's on the wall. Now I've been around long enough that I'm like, loads of people's names are on the wall. That was a weird flex. But I was like, I'm really sorry, man. And then he goes, I'm such a big deal. I can do this. And then he takes his glass of whatever he's drinking and he chucks it at the wall right next to my head. He didn't throw it at my head, but he chucked it at the wall and it shatters, falls on the ground. This other guy comes running up and he goes, he's such a big deal that I need to clean that up. Otherwise we all get in trouble and he doesn't. And I was just like, I'm sorry, dude. I literally don't know who you are. You seem very upset. And he was just like, he's like, and so I walk away and my buddy, he goes, that was like a bunch of comics are watching now. And they're like, that's pretty funny. They're like, you kind of took him down a notch. And I was like, I just don't know who that is. I was so confused. And again, when I tell these stories, because later we talked about this and okay, we'll get to it. I'm jumping ahead. I love this dude. And this part of the story makes him look like a dick, but he's not. So sometimes we're all human. You know what I mean? Like sometimes our egos get in the way. Sometimes I don't think he drinks anymore. And I know he was, so I like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, so just put away the torches if you're upset at him because he redeems himself. So I don't know. I'm going to say a couple months later, I'm back at the Comedy Store and this little guy is in the corner at a table and he waves at me and I kind of wave back and he waves me over and I look around and I'm like, me? And he's like, yeah, come over here. So I go over and I sit down and he goes, do you remember me? And I was like, yeah, you're Bobby Lee. You threw a glass at my head once. And it wasn't at my head. I'm just so paranoid that because people like, okay, once again, it's my story. He's great. I think I'm like so scattered about this story because I've told it so often that even to this point, people are still like, no, whatever, still fuck him. It's just like, okay, pump the brakes. So I was like, yeah, you're Bobby Lee. You threw a glass at my head one time. And he goes, yeah, I'm really sorry. I don't know what came over me that night. And he apologized profusely. And then he goes, you're a new comedian. And I was like, yeah, I'm new. And he goes, all right. And then he sat with me for like 45 minutes and gave me tips and pointers. And like, if you're a comedian, you know that like guys on Bobby Lee's level do not sit down and talk to new comics often unless it's like a favor or he's trying to fuck you. And I don't think he was trying before you like he's probably trying to fuck. I'm so tired of men saying that shit. He never has, never even once. Every time he sees me, asks how I'm doing, how my career is. Like he's a fucking gem. He just sat down and just talked to him, probably because he did feel bad, but he also, and a lot of comics are watching and they're like, what the fuck, Bobby Lee's actually, and he's giving me advice. And one of the big advice, if you want to try comedy, I'm going to pass along what he gave me. And it's true. He said the first year, the only job you have is to get comfortable on stage. That's it. Just make that stage your home. Doesn't matter if you're funny. That'll come. But make that stage your home. Once you have that presence, you can do anything. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Like that is one of the things that like managers have seen of me who are like, oh, we can, and you know, I'm still a baby in comedy. I'm under 10 years. Like I'm like 7 years in and I'm nowhere near as funny as I'm going to be one day, which is really exciting and super scary. But like, that's one of the compliments I get every single time is that I have crazy stage presence. And I attribute that to Bobby Lee, who was like, yo, this is what you got to work on. And so after that, every time I see Bobby Lee, I worked at that sports bar I tell you guys about all the time in Hollywood, Big Wangs. And he would come in and he would order a salad and some wings and a water and would tip me bananas, hug me, ask me how comedy was doing. Like, so he's redeemed himself. Like I know the initial story was like, not that he needs to, I don't know. I just have a lot of love for this guy. And I attribute a lot to a big growth in, you know, my starting out to that day that night he sat and gave me advice. So yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, so I ran into him in the green room at the Comedy Store. I don't know, some years later, after we'd seen each other a bunch, but he was in there with Jason Collings and we're all laughing or whatever. And Bobby goes, do you remember the first time we met? And I was like, yeah, I actually talk about that story on podcasts all the time. And he goes, I talk about that story on podcasts all the time. That, by the way, is why I'm okay with saying his name, because I'm sure maybe he hasn't said my name, but he talks about it. And I was like, oh, really? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm sure the podcasts you're on probably have a little bit more viewers than the ones I'm on. And then I tell him the story and he goes, that's not how it happened. And I was like, how do you fucking think it happened? And it goes back to that whole thing that I said last week that like, I know a lot of people that I know are going to listen to this and are going to be like, that's not how I remember it. But to me, and I've read it a lot and I believe it, there's 3 sides to every story: your side, my side, and the truth. So whatever he says on podcasts, I've never truthfully looked into trying to find him talking about it somewhere, and I didn't ask him what he said. And then Jason Collins goes, that first show of yours, you were so lucky your first show was in the main room at the Comedy Store. And like that was such a, like your very first, because most people's first show is some dopey open mic where it's like, you know, a disaster. And I got to, and thank God for that, you know. So that was my comedy story. Oh man, guys, it's so crazy. It's so exciting because it's like, that was so long ago. Not, you know, 7 years. It was a long, like I said, it was probably 10 years ago. I started comedy and then I quit for a while because that one dude was sexually harassing and touching me and I was scared. I love that I breezed past that, but burn it all to the ground. You know what I mean? And that's why I also want to tell stories about like people like Bobby Lee and Jason Collins who have been nothing but kind to me. Jason will always do. I tried to do a show a couple of years ago after the hurricanes in Puerto Rico, and I tried to raise some money. So I did it with another guy, and we decided to just do like 5 headliners, which wasn't, if I had to do it over again, we'd do just a regular show with like 2 headliners because like 6 people showed up. But Jason did the show. When I asked him to do it, he goes, whatever you want. He's like, I'll do anything. He's like, anything you ask me to do, I'll fucking do it. He's such a fucking gem. And so I want to talk about those guys in comedy too that are, you know, are supportive. And he's never once, I mean, I have been very drunk around this human, and he has never once been creepy at all. Like there's not even an inkling. It's just always like a big brother kind of thing. He's just such a good dude. His brother's pretty cool too. But, so don't burn it all to the ground, but just like do better. You know what I mean? I have no idea when I started this. I feel like I have other stories. I did want to talk about this, and this was going to be the poop scoop. This is a better poop scoop. Okay. So I was thinking about like my first apartment when I first moved here years ago. I've been in LA like 18 years. I have to do the math. 17 years because 2003. Wow, that ages me. But I lived in this 1-room apartment with like a hot plate and a mini fridge and a bathroom. I did have a bathroom. A lot of those places you had communal bathrooms, but it was like a room. It was like 1 room and a hot plate. And and it was, I think my landlord had a house arrest bracelet, ankle monitor, and he looked like Meatloaf. I think about that guy all the time. I wonder where he's at. He's probably dead. I think I always think if I haven't seen someone in, 20 years, they're probably dead, which is not real. But, speaking of, one of my friends and listeners has found Brian Hodges. I will go back to the poop scoop, don't worry, but found Brian Hodges. We just have an email, and I'm going to email him. I just don't know what I'm going to say. Hey, stranger. Like everything I've tried to I've written and rewritten this email. That's a lie. I've only written like the first 2 lines twice, and then I'm like, I just sound like a fucking crazy person. And like he's probably married with kids, and he's probably never thought about me again. But I will stay tuned. Now that I've told you about this, next week I will have written an email and we will find out if he responds. It'd be funny if he was just like, stop contacting me. I told you this 15 years ago. I do not want to talk to you. But so I lived in this little town. It's called Westwood. It's like right off of Wilshire on the west side. So it's just like a little village, but it's in LA. It's by UCLA. And so I lived there, and there was a local bar called Maloney's. And so we'd go there. That's where I made a lot of my friends when I first moved here. Oh, Erin Rice. I think she listens now. She just told me she listens. So hi, girl. So we met each other at Maloney's, and so much fun. And so like a lot of drunken, a lot of making out with frat boys. Oh, there was this guy, Nick. God, I think about this poor guy all the time. He was in a fraternity, and I don't remember meeting him, But we made out a ton. Yeah, I was that person that made out all over that bar. So embarrassing. But that poor guy for like 8 years just wanted to date me. And I was just so scared. Like we've talked about, I'm scared of, hey, speaking of, I have not cried once in this podcast. I feel like that's worth mentioning. Because I might cry now. But like I talk about, like I've pushed away so many good guys in my life because of just fear of like real intimacy and getting to know like a solid person. Instead, I'd rather date down a guy who has a cocaine problem, lives with his parents, and has some dopey nickname. Because you can't really get hurt. You can, but not in like a real true intimacy being seen kind of way. And so I think about this guy a lot. That guy finally eventually deleted my number, and I saw him once. He basically told me to fuck off, which was fair. I blew him off a lot. I remember he invited me to a fraternity date party. Now, I didn't know what that was. Even though I lived in a fraternity, like I don't think they really had date parties. And if they did, they didn't invite me to them. I was like a boy to them. I wasn't a girl where they'd invite me as their date ever, which really sucked. They had formals every year. Every year. I was like, why won't one of you fucking guys invite me to the formal? I want to go to the formal. And they're like, you're like our brother, Kim. Feel like you're all regretting that now, aren't you? I would have been a really fun date instead of those sorority broads. So he invited me to one of these parties, but I didn't know what the fuck that was. So I was like, sure, yeah, of course. And then the day of, I texted him and I was like, I can't go. And he was like, but you were my date. And I was like, find another date. And I think that was one of the times he didn't talk to me for a long time. But I would go to this bar, Maloney's, and there's a bouncer named Scott. And he was just like this tall, like sweet dude who like now, like he popped in my head the other day. And there's not much of a story to tell, but like the little village is so small that you can walk from like one end to the other in like 30 minutes, right? Maybe 45. And so I would walk out of my way when I wasn't going to Maloney's just to walk by Scott. And then I'd stand outside the bar and talk to Scott for like hours. And like now I like cringe for that 21-year-old because it's like if Scott was into you, girl, he would have asked you on a date. He had multiple chances to ask you on a date. He was probably just trying to be nice. And not that like I wasn't dateable then. It was just like that guy watched me come in every weekend and just get absolutely blackout hammered and make out with anything that looked like a dude. Yeah, I was that girl at 21. I told you I was a makeout bandit for a long time, and I hung up my party girl hat. I like to say cape, so it seems like I'm like a superhero. I made out with probably a lot of dudes that didn't get a lot of action in those days. I was not picky. I get a couple shots of, I don't know what I was drinking then. I think it was Jager. A couple shots of Jager in me at 21, and I would just make out with anything that looked like a dude. Jesus, that's embarrassing. And maybe the title of this episode. Oh, wow. Yep, that's the title. It was going to be between that and I was thinking my vagina is pristine, but I just feel like anytime I write anything sexy, it gets more downloads. What does that say about you people? Just kidding. So yeah, like he never asked me out. One time he drove me home, but what I remember was kind of the poop scoop. What I remember most about this guy is that I would have the worst gas around him. Like the worst gas. Like the kind that like is warm when you fart it out and it smells so bad. You know what I'm talking about? Like the bad, like where it's like you got a stomach problem. You wanna, and I don't like. It wasn't like every time I saw this guy, but like enough that like either he made me really nervous, or I really needed to look into some stuff. But I realized this is when I found out two things. One, when you're a pretty girl, no one expects you're the one that farted. No one does. No one. All you got to do, I think I already gave you this a couple of weeks ago. All you got to do is just wait till someone else smells it, right? So you fart, it smells really bad, but you smell it first. That's so true. I know there's a weird rhyme to it. I think, do I mention this every podcast? Every podcast, do I let you know how you can get away with farting? Jesus Christ, I'm 38. So what you do is you wait, and then when someone goes, oh, what's that smell? Then you smell and go, oh my God, I don't know. And then no one ever thinks it's you. Or maybe they do and they just never want to be like, girl, we knew that was you. But I also learned that I would feel it coming on. And then if I just walked away for a little bit. So this guy, he and I would be talking and I'd be like, oh, I got to fart. So I'd be like, I think I see my friend. I don't even know how I don't even remember how I would like walk away. I think I would laugh really hard and like walk away because I was laughing so hard. And then I'd come back after I like crop dusted. But I now know that it definitely would follow me back. I think we cracked the case on why Scott never asked me out. Because we did flirt a lot. And I'm sure he probably would have asked me out had I not just been farting a ton around him all the time. Like, there were two modes. I was either farting in front of him constantly or making out with some random frat boy. Yeah, I think we just cracked it. I think we cracked the case on why Scott from Maloney's never asked me out. Maybe he's doing well now. I'm doing well. To be honest with you, I don't think I could pick Scott out of a lineup. When I picture him, I picture another dude that I went on a couple of dates with. They've kind of morphed together as one person. So I don't know. But if you want to get away with farting, that's how you do it. I think that's how I'm going to end the podcast today, guys. I do want to say I am one lucky broad. I am one lucky broad because I am learning how to be patient and present. There's a lot of uncertainty right now with my unemployment, just finding a job, the world on fire. Like there's just every day is just like, who the fuck knows what the fuck is happening? How many times can I say fuck in a sentence? Like who knows what's going to happen from day to day? You know what I mean? Like it's really. So I'm one lucky broad that I have learned how to be very present. And if you were panicking, and I know you're probably like, fuck you, I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent in August. Yeah, most of us are like fucking freaked out, I know. But like how I'm trying, just have a little faith. Have a little faith. Like right now, in this moment, I have a roof over my head. I have Jesus. Henry's running around and he just bashed into the closet door. That really scared me. Right in this moment, let's get back to it. Right in this moment, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my fridge and in my tummy. I have a beautiful cat that is my best friend, and then another cat that we just tolerate because she kind of sucks. Just kidding. I love Lucy. Sorry, Lucy. But you know what I mean? Like in this exact moment, I am okay and I'm doing great. And so that is getting me through this right now, and having a little faith and also doing the footwork. It's like I'm praying to catch the bus, but I'm also running like hell. So it's like I'm not just being like, well, we'll see what happens when unemployment runs out. It's like, okay, I'm doing the footwork. So I'm just one lucky broad that I've learned how to be present and also take care of myself. So please send me your DMs of your poop stories. I think I'm running out. That can't be possible. That cannot be possible. Not that I'm dying to have it. Maybe I'll just go out in public and shit my pants just so I have something to tell you guys. Just kidding. Probably. So that's our show. I'm Kim Kral. This is Kral Space. We are new episodes every Wednesday. Every Wednesday dropping at noon. I don't know why I say dropping. We're dropping a new episode every Wednesday at noon. No, that's my rapper voice. It's not a good rapper voice. But every Wednesday at noon is a new episode, and we're still waiting on contracts and whatnot for the Dash show. So send me some good vibes, and I'm sending all of you good vibes. This is such a scary time, and thank you so much for listening. If you get a chance, please leave a rating and a review. It means so much to me, and it really helps. It helps you get seen more on iTunes, which will help me get one step closer to saving the world. Yeah, I'm kind of serious about that. So please leave me a review and a rating. It would mean so much to me. Thank you for listening. If you want to follow me on all the socials, I am KYMKRAL. I will see you next week. Bye.
Kral Space, I'm Kim Kral.